You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from 2021, where everything is a little bit the same and a little bit the different. And of course, we're looking at comics from 2016. That's right, we're going back to town with Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Back to town. Look at us, back in town. Hello, everybody. I'm Travis.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brandon, and welcome to our show. Welcome to our quarterly Rick and Morty review.
Welcome to town. Welcome back to town.
Morty Town. And
the first episode of 2021, we took a brief break there after the holidays. Couple of apathetic enthusiasms for you out there in January, but we're back talking about the show that everyone is talking about. Nobody can keep it out of their cultural zeitgeists.
They can't put it down.
It's everywhere. It's Rick and Morty. If you are a new listener, a new watcher, a new viewer, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow what we are doing on the internet at all times and in all places, you can follow us on social media over at twitter.com/rickandmortypod, facebook.com/rickandmortypodcast, or send us an email at rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on the web at rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com or on the official rickandmorty.reddit.com subreddit. If you're on Reddit, good luck with all of your stonks. And then, of course, this show is at rickandmortypod.com. Rick and Morty Pod. No cast.
Pod. No cast.
Get that cast out of here.
We couldn't get that domain name. I'm not sure. I don't even know where that domain name takes you. But do us a favor, don't go there just in case it's a better podcast.
rickandmortypod.com. We are streaming live this evening on twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. If you want to catch live podcasts, if you want to be part of the show, if you want to catch epic Paper Mario streams or whatever else we're doing, then head over to Twitch. You can follow us over there. You can also catch episodes of the show in their video format after the fact over at youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. So you can check that out as well. Subscribe over there. And then you can support this show directly either at TeePublic. You can just go to apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. Or go to our Patreon, patreon.com/rickandmortypod, and, hang out, see what's good over there. Maybe we'll throw a bonus content over there. Throw a content. You guys like content, right?
A singular or maybe a doubler content.
One or two at least. Brandon, the social medias are complete. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be back. It's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a few days.
Almost 2 days.
Yeah. Almost 2 days. It was Saturday. Yeah. That was the last time we talked.
It was the grand finale of your epic year plus D&D campaign that we just finished.
That's right.
It was wonderful. Thank you for all of your hard work.
That was my New Year's resolution, is to finish the campaign. You crushed
it. You got to set the bar low so that you can just hop right over.
New Year's resolutions. That's my tip for New Year's resolutions: is set them for things that were going to happen anyway. That way you can say that, I'm 20 for 20 on resolutions.
I stick to it every year. Every year I'm like, I am going to tie my shoes, and you know what? I do. I always do.
20 for 20. Except for that one year that
that 1 year you were tripping all over the place.
I went on a sandal binge, and I just no, I will not use laces.
Nope. Strictly slip-ons for me. No, I can't. I don't have time for laces. I got things to do.
Boat shoes.
Boat shoes. For all of your yacht trips with your diamond hands. Are you ready? Are you ready to kick into our first segment?
I think so, Travis.
Do you remember how to do it?
I don't.
Okay. Well, we'll give it a shot anyway. It's time for semi-pertinent news.
It's semi-pertinent news.
Ooh, the effects. You got the effect slider going on that one.
Yeah, I'm working on being a regular Michael Winslow.
Raise your hand if you get that reference. All right, everybody.
Oh,
All right. We're the only two here. We're the only two here. But if you're driving your car listening to this podcast, you can just raise your hand if you got that reference.
Yeah. Both hands.
Nope. Stay safe. Stay safe while driving and listening to your favorite podcast, released once every quarter. Yeah. So first up, for longtime listeners of the show, you may be aware of another podcast that is pretty popular amongst Rick and Morty fandom, a podcast that recently ended back in 2020, and that is the Harmontown podcast, which Dan Harmon did for years and years and years out in LA as a live show. Brandon, you had the opportunity to go and actually visit Harmontown live.
That's right. I did. Do you want me to talk more about it?
No, it's just not fair. It's just not fair that
I know
it ended before I could go and see it live.
You started listening to Harmontown before me. You continued listening to it after me. You really, between the two of us, you deserved more so to go see it live, and you never did. And
nope.
Me,
sure
because
didn't.
That's where my family resides. I took that opportunity to with Rick and Morty cards in hand, just in case anybody mentioned it, I can say, but never actually handing them out. And my mom later was like, why didn't you hand any cards out? I'm like, no. And my brother Brett was like, I offered, he wouldn't let me. So, anyway.
Yep, because we're great at shameless self-promotion. Anyway, Harmontown ended last year, but they are back with a special event, a Harmontown Reunion, on Sunday, February 21st at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. This will be an event that you can stream on the internet. I believe tickets are $15, I think.
15? Yeah, that sounds about right.
I've got a tab with this information. I could just click and look at it. Yeah, it's $15. The show will be available to stream all the way until February 28th at midnight. So if you are a longtime Harmontown fan and miss the old crew, this is your opportunity to hear from them once again. What I'm sure will be an outstanding rant from Dan Harmon himself about the events of the last, 6 to 8 months. A lot of politics and cultural events happened that he may weigh in on. I don't know. It could happen.
Good.
A star-studded lineup, of course, for the special event. You, of course, have the mayor, Dan Harmon, your comptroller, Jeff B. Davis, the dungeon master himself, Spencer Crittenden, BFF, Rob Schrab in the house, the shambling mound himself, and then special guests Emily Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani, who friends of the show from way back in the early days of Harmontown. Kumail now super ripped and ready to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So should be fun. I expect certain things out of this. I expect that Dan rant that we talked about earlier. I expect probably a little bit of D&D, like maybe just like a touch, a taste. I expect Dan to talk about Kumail's fitness on a regular basis. He's just going to talk about it throughout the show, I feel like. And then Rob Schrab just interrupting and probably pissing Dan off. All of those things and much more, I'm sure.
That's what I watch for. That's what I watch and listen for.
I really want Schrab home movies to happen. Is it out? Is he doing it already? Like, am I just missing this?
Yeah, you miss it. It's just a stream he does basically every weekend.
Where have I been? Living under a rock.
I don't.
Well, I think Harmontown I didn't regularly subscribe to Harmontown, I will admit. I just listened to the audio version of the podcast. This is something that I feel like I'll be forking out the $15 to be able to watch either the night of or soon thereafter. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm glad they're coming back to do a Harmontown.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I didn't read too much into it, and so I'm not sure why they decided now's the time to bring it back. Maybe it's 21. Maybe they're hopeful for a new year.
Dan wasn't like super outgoing about why he quit in the first place. I think it was just like he was ready to be done with it. But I mean, it's been a while. He probably wants to just get back out and share his thoughts on things. And
I'm sure
it'll be good. It'll be good.
Speaking of sharing your thoughts on things, one of the things that we've done lately is we had a chance to see last year's fourth quarter loot crate, the Rick and Morty loot crate, and part of that deal is doing a little bit of YouTube unboxing. That's right, a little bit of YouTube unboxing, so you can see stuff. You can see Travis and I with multi-cameras.
Oh, more than one camera. Ooh.
And looking at things like a plushy Plumbus.
Oh, it's so soft. It's so soft.
It's so soft. Or a wallet thing.
An ugly Morty stress ball.
I squeeze this all day while I'm teleworking.
Yeah. It's funny because in the video you talk about how you don't have any stress balls because you're never stressed out, and then you get one and you say you squeeze it all day while you're working. So maybe some introspection is worthwhile there.
Is a record. At normal work I don't have a stress ball around me, so now that I have one, maybe that's something I need. Maybe it is something
you're gonna do so much better in life because of that. If you want to see the video of us unboxing, head over to our YouTube channel. That link again, youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. If you are listening to this podcast or you go to the YouTube video, there is a link there where you can get a loot crate for yourself. If you go to Loot Crate and use the promo code inter_15, you can get 15% off your loot crate, your Rick and Morty loot crate. That is all Rick and Morty stuff. You don't worry about any other properties, any other IPs.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Nothing but Ricks and Mortys, man.
Straight up.
Yeah.
You said the code already? That's good.
Yeah, I said it. I said the code. Once again, that code, inter_15, to get 15% off your Rick and Morty loot crate.
That's right. That's right. Well, look, we've got some other stuff to talk about here today. The eventual thing that we do that is the main part of the show. But before we do that, the very, very last thing we have is what we call the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Fantastic.
Yeah, singing's not my gift. All right, singing's not my gift. But
either.
You do a great job, Brandon. You do a great job. Dan Harmon, he's out on the internet. He's pretty much consolidated it all to one place, and that is his Instagram. If you head to his Instagram right now, you will see things like an announcement saying that Harmontown is back, which is great. But that's not what we're talking about.
No.
We're talking about this little nugget right here.
Love you too.
Listen up.
Will you tell me something now?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Do you guys have a laser? And is it in space? And did you use it to start the California wildfires?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody about the Jewish space laser.
Don't call it that, though.
Don't call it that.
Don't call it that.
Tell me about it.
Don't call it Jewish space laser.
Why not?
Because that's not... No one calls it that. We don't call it that. I mean, don't call it that.
Honey,
Listen,
I'm not
listen,
Jewish,
don't
so,
call it
like,
that,
I'm
okay, guys?
obligated to report this.
So there you go. And if you're not following with current events, there's a rumor going around that the California wildfires may have been started by a Jewish space laser.
Be sure to contact your Congressperson, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to clear up any uncertainties about that. But that was, of course, Dan Harmon speaking with his fiancée, who is Jewish, about whether or not there is a Jewish space laser. But they don't call it that. They don't call it that. So
Yeah, they don't call it that.
there you go. That's Dan Harmon on Twitter, at Dan Harmon, verified user. So head on out if you want to follow Dan Harmon on the internet. That's your social media minute.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you for that.
Am I sick? I'm the sickest there is. Thank you, Matt, for asking about my health. I did get vaccinated today.
That's good. That's good. It has
So-
nothing to do with Travis sounding like he has a cold.
Nope, nothing
Because-
to do with it. I'm just stressed. It's a stress ball. All right, guys, let's get into our favorite part of the show. It is time for the main thing.
Gung 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 gung. Gung 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 gung. It's the main thing. Dum ba dum bum bum. Dum ba dum bum bum. Gung 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 gung. It's the main thing. It's the main thing. It's the main
thing.
Thing. The main thing, babe.
I want this entire segment to just be you, like 30 minutes of you doo-wop scatting for the main thing. But we don't have time for that because we need to talk about comic
Comic book. Woo! Woo! Comics. Okay, introduction to this week's main thing. A longtime listener of the show, Ranma, apologies if I pronounced the name wrong, every once in a while sends us an email and says, you need to cover the comics. Please cover the comics. Please cover Doofus Jerry. Please cover the comics. And we'd covered the comics before, and like once or twice, and periodically, you still need to cover the comics. And I'm like, yeah, I know we need to. We just hadn't, and we want to say it's comic time, Ranma. We're doing comics.
Look at
this week.
This week, nothing but comics and
Nothing
all
but.
the other stuff. But
Yeah,
but the main
30
thing
minutes
is
in.
just comics.
And we decided to go with a storyline that I'd mentioned before, Ranma mentioned before to us in emails. It's the Doofus Jerry arc, which came out in 2016 at the end of 2016, written by Kyle Starks. Marc Ellerby did some stories that kind of like the one shot stuff at the back, and I've got a few other folks illustrated by Cannon. Farina did the colors, and then lettering by Crank. So this is fairly early on in the Rick and Morty comics, but yeah, I think this is when I actually started reading them. Before that, I was just starting to collect them.
Just straight collecting. You're like, I'm not opening these. I don't care about the content. I just want
Yeah.
to own this paper.
Exactly right. And I think these three I really enjoyed, especially for some of the gags that we'll talk about here in a minute. But Travis, why don't you talk a little bit about why don't you bring up the Broh-nopsis? We have a Broh-nopsis.
I wrote a Broh-nopsis for it. It's this one is a comic, bruh. Jerry is way too powerful in this one, bruh. And yeah, the basic synopsis of this 3-issue arc is that Jerry is feeling left out. He's feeling very, very Jerry, as it were. He's picked on by the Smith family and Rick, and so he decides, after seeing Rick's portal gun that he is going to take a little trip to visit his good friend Doofus Rick. If you remember, I should have pulled up this reference, but this was like the season 2 finale. When does he actually meet up with Doofus Rick? It's back there. It's back. It happened. And he becomes great friends with Doofus Rick. They make brownies and all sorts of things. So he uses Rick's portal gun to go and visit Doofus Rick in his dimension. And they have a great time. They go to a theme park. But little does he know that the Jerry in this dimension is actually like an all-powerful, super smart, completely uninhibited version of Jerry Smith. And Jerry decides that because interdimensional travel has not been discovered in this dimension, he doesn't know about it. And he's going to go and take over all of the dimensions because he's already conquered the Earth that he owns. And that's kind of where the story goes. What were your thoughts on this initial setup, this premise of almost the anti-Jerry, right? A Jerry that is all the things our Jerry is not in terms of like personality and character.
Yeah. They, of course, mentioning Jerry feeling emasculated by his family, looking for shelter, looking for companionship, finding Doofus Rick, the best friends as friends can be.
People let me tell you about my best friend.
And I didn't. I think at the time, I didn't know that I hadn't thought of the idea of like there being a really competent Jerry was a thing, right? And in the comics, I'll say that they like Jerry is even more incompetent and even more useless. And in the first issue 21, as they're making fun of him, they're showing just different clips of how bad he is. Like somebody comes up to him in a parking lot and he's crying. He's like, "No, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was your girlfriend. I didn't mean to look at her." And it's like a tattooed, bearded guy. He's like, "Sir, you dropped your wallet. I'm trying to into your wallet."
Are you peeing on yourself? Come on, I want to give you your stuff back. Yeah.
So going to this doofus world, where everything's turned on its head, I thought that was a good introduction to it. But then when he goes back into, I'll say C-137 for sake of argument, and then he goes there. Beth wants to do him. Summer likes him. There's a really weird, creepy vibe in that.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's a jerk. Morty immedientely recognizes that that's not his actual dad, and Rick tries to be like, "Hey, sorry, pal, you got to get out of here." And Doofus Jerry beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, he does. We call him Doofus Jerry, right? But like Jerry, this Doofus Jerry is not a doofus. He's super powerful. But you talk about that moment where Doofus Jerry beats up Rick, and I feel like it's really telling in the comics, like what we know about Rick at that point in time in the show when this comes out in December of 2016.
Yeah.
We haven't really been fully exposed to cybernetic Rick, the Rick that like is almost impervious to death, because this Rick just gets straight beat up. Like no special weapons, no extra stuff. It's just he gets punched a bunch of times and he can't hang. And that is not the Rick that we have come to know after 4 seasons of the show.
Yeah. And I'd say even at that point in time in the series, we hadn't really seen him lose because it was only in season 2, right? We hadn't even gotten to season 3 at that point in time, and so seeing him just get thrashed, it was like, wow, okay, all right, let's see where this goes. The issue 22 is then our Jerry is still stuck in Doofus world with Doofus Rick, and you know, my initial complaint with Doofus Rick was like, it's not that he's not dumb, he's just a much more sensitive version of it, right?
Yeah.
And in that first issue, he kind of is just a dumbass, and I'm like, making fun of the character kind of, but then he starts to be a little bit smarter in the second issue, and then going to the third issue, but they're trying to escape that Doofus world because Doofus Jerry had taken both portal guns, stranding them there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Doofus Jerry is tearing up the place. I mean, he's just like, when I say tearing up the place, I mean he's the alpha male in that household, and Morty's like, you have to do something to Rick, and he's like, I can't. I've tried so many things. I even threw a cat at him, Morty.
I love that bit where he's like, what is a better indicator of a man on his last leg than just throwing a cat at someone? And the cat like ends up liking him or something. You know, he's...
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So So that issue, just establishing his dominance a little bit more. But then him finding out, because Rick calls in the Citadel of Ricks to come in to help save the day, right? Jerry realizing that, oh, there's more of them. There's more worlds to conquer. Well, that takes us into the finale of that issue, where he basically takes out the Citadel. He owns them using genetic manipulation to create pheromones that all the Ricks are not immune to.
Yeah. Allergic to his scent, so to speak. The rounding out sort of I don't want to give everything away, because unlike the TV show where we have an expectation that if you listen to this podcast, you have probably seen every episode, or you are catching new episodes as they air, except for Matt. Everybody else, we expect that you've probably at least seen the show, but you may not have picked up the comics. You may not have made it out to your local comic shop. You may not have gotten these in any way, shape, or form. So I would recommend checking out this 3-issue arc if you have the option to do it. But it really it culminates in a giant robotic mech battle that almost like is anticlimactic in its presentation. I was really like, as it was building to this moment, I was like, are they gonna like draw this like epic fight with this giant Rick and giant Jerry mechs that are gonna, you know, go at each other? And I mean, it happens for a few panels, but but it abruptly ends, and they have to come up with another solution for how to deal with this problem. Who will win out in the end? Will it be Rick finally overtaking this doofus Jerry? Will Morty prove his worth, or does it take a Jerry to defeat a Jerry? Who knows? I know.
Who knows?
I read the story. I know, but you'll have to read the comics to know for yourself.
You'll have to. I mean, you'll have to read the comic to see for yourself. But also, if you haven't by now, you probably are not into comics, and so spoilers abound. Doofus Jerry is defeated. How?
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that up to you, to Wikipedia, or go to comicsfree.sfc.
Go to your local comic shop, buy the comics, support the support the artists, support the writers.
What I will say, what I like about the comics is just as I mentioned, the Jerry supermarket parking lot with the dropping the wallet and stuff like that, there are periodic paneled asides that that capture random humor that I really like, and then the kind of non sequiturs that happen. I sent you a picture of
The Golden Girls.
yeah, the Golden Girls. Well, Morty, Doofus Jerry is saying like, you don't want to see you don't want to go in the bedroom to see your mom. You don't want to see that or whatever. And and Morty's like, well, like the Golden Girls buttholes. and then
It's something you don't want to see, Morty. What, like the Golden Girls buttholes?
Yeah, dang it, what did I do with that thing? Yeah, and then he's like, why would I want to see that? Talking about being their best friends, 4 wrinkly decrepit buttholes traveling down the road and back again.
And there's like a picture, a drawn image of the Golden Girls with that description. And in the subsequent panels, it's this weird presentation of Morty where he's like disgusted by it, but also somewhat intrigued. Like it's something he spent a lot of time thinking about, but isn't openly admitting it. So yeah, there are some good one-offs, some little bits, if you will, within the comics where they take some liberties. They go in different directions that the show wouldn't necessarily go in, though sometimes they do. Yeah, and I don't know. I think there's some great things that they do in the comics. It's a different kind of storytelling. It's the way that they pace like action scenes and stuff like that. It doesn't play the same as it would in the show, but they can really dig into the characters a little bit more sometimes and explore different aspects of the characters in the comics that we don't always see in a 22-minute episode or however long an episode is. Yeah. So I like that. I like that they can dig into it a little bit more. That the relationship between Jerry and Doofus Rick is kind of nice. Like it's good for them, even though they're like the two most outcast people in the multiverse. At least they found each other.
Yeah, they're supportive of each other, and that's something we don't see in Rick and Morty all the time. Is supporting your fellow man or woman,
or Rick really getting totally beat up because that just doesn't seem to happen in the show either.
No, it doesn't. The last thing I'll say, going back just briefly, the robot fight. I showed the cover here on the video a minute ago. It's like a big robot. There's a big robot like Jaeger, a Guillermo del Toro Pacific Rim robot fight for like 3 frames. And like that piece is disappointing. You talk about action in comics. I think the team that did the Bird Person one shot, Rick and Morty Presents Bird Person, I think they do a spectacular job, and we interviewed them here on the show.
Yes, we did. Make sure to check out that episode. If you're into comics and you want to hear more about making comics and the people that put their blood, sweat, and tears into putting those stories on the page.
That's right. Alex Fear, Fred Stressing, and Leonardo Ito.
Yeah.
I remember names.
Yeah, I'm glad one of us does. Overall, I have read some Rick and Morty comics. I have I think the first 5 or 6 volumes of the trade paperbacks now, but I have not read all of them. I've only read the first 2 or 3, and then I've read Rick and Morty vs. Dungeons and Dragons. I did get volume 2. I did get that recently, so I intend on reading that as well. But I think of the storylines that I've read, this is one that I would rank higher than most. This was a cool idea. It did show some vulnerabilities for Rick, and yeah, I would recommend it if especially in this drought season when we don't have new episodes and you're like, man, I just want some new Rick and Morty. It's out there. You just got to know where to look. and it's in the pages of the comics. That's where you got to go.
That's right. Find your local trade paperback distributor, wherever trade paperback distributors are sold.
They're also on Amazon.
Okay, yeah,
So,
that's good.
because Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money. All right. Any final thoughts on the comics or on the storyline, Brandon?
No. I think that covers it for any of the comics. If there's a comic, Rick and Morty comic thread or storyline arc that you want us to take a look at a little bit deeper, do us a favor. Head out to our Twitter at RickMortyPod or our email rickandmortypod@gmail.com. Send us an email and say, hey, here are the issues. Go ahead. Can you cover these for us? And we'll take a look at them. I have them, and I'll just I'll get a video and read it with Travis. Read along with Travis.
He just reads it to me as I'm going to sleep, and that's how we do these. That's how we do these reviews.
With this with a Plumbus mobile.
Curled up with a Plumbus pillow.
And then it's like king, 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 bang, 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 bang. That's like I was trying to do like a lullaby,
like a little mobile thing above
above
my crib that you make me sleep in. Jeez.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway, thank you once again, Ranma, for encouraging us to review the comics. It was great getting into those. It is time for listener suggestions, short outs, the part of the show where we short people out. We've given him some props throughout the episode, but thanks for Ranma for encouraging us to do this episode. Thanks again to Loot Crate for sending us those crates and giving us fun things to mess with. Don't forget to check out the link if you want to get your own Loot Crate. R10NX. Always holding it down in the chat. Ryan X. Yes,
Ryan X.
That's how we say it. That's how we've always said it. Ryan X over on Twitch. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Have a good day, Face. As always.
Of course.
Thank you.
Today, as a matter of fact, the Dan Levy on Twitter shot us a tweet, February image of his Rick and Morty 2021 calendar. The Cromulons native to the Cygnus 5 expanse are actually just spaceships with an alien inside. Is this canon now? And it's basically it's the Cromulon's head. It like is separating from it, and there's somebody driving it. And I said I would love to have that thing.
Yeah,
I had a conversation about how much of a pain in the ass it would be to be an all powerful being, right? Like, I mean, how much pressure do you have to be under like all the time? Somebody wanted me to send an email this week, and I'm like, oh God, like it weighed on me. I'm like, oh, I gotta draft this thing up.
But if you're all powerful, if you're like the Doofus Brandon of your timeline, I'm sure it's easy.
Through the power of my art, and that time has passed. The moment's passed. It's gone now.
All right. Well, there's always opportunities for art doctoring. So if you have anything that you want to say back to us, if you want to get shorted out on this podcast, hit us up on any of those social links, or you can come hang out Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, on our Twitch, which most of the time works great. Tonight, hit or miss. We have some troubleshooting to do. But as soon as we are done recording the audio versions of our podcast, we hop right over into the live show only post-show portion where we hang out with all the good folks over on Twitch, which we are about to go do right now. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure you are following on Twitch and check us out on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for listening. Happy 2021. Happy New Year now that we're like officially in February. But yeah, we are excited for whatever Rick and Morty comes our way in 2021, and are hoping to have many more episodes hang out with you guys. So until next time.
We'll see you when there's new episodes. Bye. I'm Brandon. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun 2021.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, guys. Guys, I do not know what's going on with my computer.